Hello, this is Carl's Mustang, and today I'm going to do a little bit of a review on Gran Turismo. I mean, I know there's a lot of reviews of Gran Turismo 7 out there, but I'm going to give my own review, especially since how it's changed in the past year. Yeah, this game's been out for a year now. It has changed quite a bit, and of course, the first thing I'm going to touch upon is the progression. The progression part is going to be the biggest part because that one you have to progress with the cafe menus, which is this right here. Now, one pain in the butt thing though is it's not too much of a pain in the butt if you're really into racing like I am, but having to unlock all these and then unlock all the tracks and all that, because all the tracks are locked behind your collector level. And of course, you can't progress through the game until you do the cafe menus, because that helps your collector level, because they have it where you basically can't buy any cars at the beginning. Except for used cars, only if you have the money, which then you have to use the cafe menu to progress to get those races to pop up. But, besides the progression, it's really good. There's quite a bit of ways to make money once you get far enough. I mean, there's races in here. I mean, I'm not even at highest level. As I said, I'm still progressing for the cafe menu. I still need to do the super cafe menu and stuff like that. And still haven't done the extra cafe menus. But there's still a lot of stuff to do. Like, there's still a lot of races to do and all that. And of course, then there's also the track experiences and the missions and the license test and all that. But I can see there's a lot of tracks, a lot of different races that pay differently depending on, well, except for that one. But there's a lot of tracks that pay quite a bit. Like that one I hadn't done because there's supposed to be a glitch where you don't get the money. And there's another race like that in here too. But as you can see, there's a lot of ways to make money. I mean, that's America, here's Asia, or here's Europe, I mean. Screwed up a little bit. But here's Europe, and of course, as you can see, there's the races down at the bottom. It tells you what all they are, and how much, well, it doesn't show how much they pay until you click on them. But, as you can see, there's a lot of ways to make money. Especially once you get so far through the game. And I guess next, I'll touch upon the car list, because, I mean, it's a racing game after all. With the car list. Now, this is the used car dealership, so as you know, if you know Gran Turismo 7 a little bit by now, you know the cars change on a daily basis of what's in the used car dealership. Not all cars, but some of them. Like, for instance, the cars that marked new, like the Silvia, that's actually new to the used car lot, which I need to buy that. I'll probably buy that after I'm done with the video. But it's one of those things where every day it changes. Like, of course, there's cars that are sold out because it means a lot of people bought them and stuff like that. Of course, limited stock, stuff like that. And when you get far enough in level, you can actually sell cars. Because there's a thing on that'll pop up next to the wish list right there called Evaluate Car. And then you can sell your said car if you have duplicates or maybe if you just don't like the car in general. And, of course, there's Brand Central, which is all the new cars. And, of course, you know all the new cars. Of course, there's a lot of new cars in the game. Because there's America. It has, of course, all the well, not all the American brands, but a good bit of the American brands. Of course, Europe. And, of course, has all your favorite brands there. And, of course, then there's Asia. Now, I think Asia needs a little bit of brands. Like, I recommend they need to add Kia. And maybe a little bit more Hyundais. But otherwise, it has pretty good bit of Asian cars, too. And, of course, then there's the Haggerty Group car collection, which is called Legendary Cars. They're here, and they're the expensive boys. I mean, they're the cars that go for all the way from, like, oh, this shows you the price range right here, really. Some cars go from $300K in here all the way up to $20 million, as you can see, two of them actually are right now. But this is where the big boys hang out, the expensive cars. And it has a pretty good car list. And of course, you get some for free from cafe menus and route tickets and all that. And of course, then some of them you could just buy, which lifts your collector level either way, really. In fact, I think you get more collector level points if you actually buy the car, but sometimes it's worth getting it for free. Now, the next thing to move on to is customization and performance tuning. First thing I'm going to start with is performance tuning, because that's like the number one thing you need to learn when it comes to Gran Turismo. You have everything. You have ECUs, air filters, anything you think of in performance tuning you could do in this game. Just like Forza Motorsport or even Forza Horizon. Except they actually have power reducers and all that too, so you could reduce your power. Or you could get a custom ECU and reduce the power that way. But, as you can see, there's basically everything you can think about. And of course, then there's the extreme stuff, which lets you rebuild the engine, which actually just puts a whole new engine. It's not even rebuilding it. Steering angle kit for drifting, hydraulic handbrake for drifting, carbon ceramic brakes for just better stopping in general if you're making a race car or something like that, nitrous, four-wheel steering control system, intermediate tires, heavy rain tires, new body, which is replacing the whole body of the car, whole body and chassis. And here's the tuning that goes along with the performance. Now, this one only have a highly adjustable sport suspension, which makes it where you can't touch dampeners or toe. But of course, if you have a fully customizable suspension, you could touch all this. And if you have a sports suspension, a street suspension, you can't touch any of it. And if you have a normal sports suspension, you can't touch any of it. But once you get to highly adjustable and fully customizable, you can touch it. Of course, you could customize the differential. If you have a fully customizable differential, you could adjust the power output right here. If you have a fully customizable computer, you could custom adjust the output, downforce. And if you have front and rear downforce, you could adjust that, of course. Of course, you could take stuff off and put stuff on, as you can see right there. So, I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with performance if you want to tone it down or even bring it up in performance. It takes a little while to load sometimes. Oh, and also this adds to your performance too. I almost forgot to add this. Of course, one of the things, if you add enough miles to your car, you're going to need to give it an oil change. You're going to have to give it an engine overhaul eventually. And, of course, re-restorate the body. So, of course, those things you see at the bottom tell you the condition of your car every time you pull into the garage. And, of course, there's wide bodies if you really want it. Which are actually tasteful wide bodies. I actually like that. They're not bolt-on or anything like that, which I really like myself. And then, of course, going into the customization part, which is wings, body kits, all that, each car has its own customization limits. Just like any other game, it has its own limits. And, of course, wheels are locked to certain cars and stuff like that, and you know, just all the usual stuff. But as you can see, they have quite a bit of wheel options. They don't have a lot of wheel brands, I will say that, but they have quite a bit of wheel options. And of course, as you can see, there's some wheels this car cannot get, but as you can see, it's able to basically get every wheel. And some cars, it depends on their wheel size of what wheels they can get. I could put spoon wheels on it. But, of course, there's paints, which has real cars all the way down to specialized colors. There's front body kits, side skirts, rear diffusers, wings. Of course, there's a custom set wing where you can totally customize your wing. I mean, you name it, they have it. Hood pins, hooks, roll cages, light bulbs. You can change out the color of your light bulbs and how bright your light bulbs are and what color they are and all. You can change out your license plate, the front, rear, or only rear, something like that. Your grille on some cars. Brake calipers if you have racing brakes on your car. Of course, liveries. I mean, there's just a whole slew of customization. And of course, suits. You can customize your suit. Like right now, I have my guy wearing a Ken Block suit because RP Ken Block, one of my favorite rally drivers of all time. But you could customize your own suit, which I didn't make the suit, but I have a suit I did make. I mean, customization's covered, basically. It's not Need for Speed, but it's covered as in what type of game Gran Turismo is. And I guess next I'll put it down to racing, because that's one of the other important things is racing. Now, that part really depends on what car you're using. Like, there's some, of course, the AI drive like imbeciles, but it really depends on what car you're driving, of how good the racing is. Like, some racing experience can be difficult depending on your car, of course, just like any other game. And some racing experiences can be easy. Like with this one, it's like medium because it's not rated 550 due to the way I set it up, but it's enough to give them a challenge. And of course, there's performance point restricted races, and there's races that restrict what tires. I think there's races. No, there's no races that restrict the tires you use, but those basically do, because you have to tweak your car just right to compete in. And the physics overall, like a lot of people say the physics are different from Gran Turismo. From Gran Turismo Sport. Not too much different. Like they're different, a little different, but not too much different where it throws you off. If you come off GT Sport to this, it's not going to feel too much different, really. Especially after all the updates they did that help fix the physics, because day one, I heard this game really did feel different, but now it feels almost the same, but a little bit more realistic. Like, the cars have a little bit more sway to them, so you have to be a little bit more careful if you have stock suspension. But otherwise, racing's good in this game. Now, there are some races that are just a pain in the ass because the opponent's cheat, but that you could adjust with difficulty level. But as for racing's real good. And of course, if you want to, you could put it on hard and have yourself a hell of a time trying to race, depending on what car you're driving. Some cars make it look easy, and some cars it's a hard time. And I guess now we'll be next onto the community, which is liveries, photos, and decals. Okay, now down to the showcase, aka the community. Now this is where you can download decals, custom liveries for your car, or they also have styles for your car, because they have styles and liveries. Of course, custom for things, custom made suits and stuff like that. And of course, there's a lot to choose from. I mean, whatever you're into, you're gonna find it in here, basically. I mean, as you can see, I'm just in the main selection. It says all, and you can already see all the stuff that is there. And of course, that's just recommended. You can go to trending, which is the most popular stuff. Then you could go to new, which is like the newest stuff that was just uploaded, and all that. And of course, if you want to select it down, you go to styles, helmets, suits, photos. The photo mode's real good in this game. Including, let's see, where is that one? Including that one. I'm gonna like that one. But, of course, there's racing photos, decals, replays. If you're really into watching replays, you can watch replays. And of course, this is the decal community. That's one of my most favorite communities because that's how I make most of my liveries. And of course, then there's following, which is people you follow, which most of the people I follow, they either make styles, liveries, or decals. And of course, then there's search, and that's where you can search for something for your certain car, like that. Of course, there's my themes, and that's for if you're really into doing photos and stuff like that, and doing your own liveries. Of course, there's styles, helmets, suits. Yeah, I never really uploaded the suit or helmet style. And of course, you know, just the usual. The community's a good thing. The community's awesome. I love games. I've ran into some games, they don't have livery communities. I don't get a decal or livery communities. I'm sitting there just scratching my head, why not? It's so perfect, I don't see why they don't have them. And I imagine it's probably not that hard of a feature to implement. But, altogether, I gave Gran Turismo a good review. It had a couple stumbles at the start, due to how microtransaction happy it was, but they fixed it quite a bit. I mean, you still have to grind to make your money, but that's with any game today. I mean, look at Need for Speed Unbound. Look at The Crew 2. Look at all the other games that are out today. You have to do the same. So, and GTA Online. The biggest example is GTA Online. So, it's one of those things, you can't hit it for being too grindy because Rockstar takes the cake on that one. But it's a fun game. I gave it 9 out of 10 stars because there's some things I feel like they missed in the customization options. Like maybe custom hoods and some other small things. But otherwise, this game deserves 9 out of 10 stars from me. And for anybody else that might be interested, because it's just that dang good of a game. That's all I really had for today's video, and I'll see you guys later in the next video.